What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Blazers Uprise Live here on a Thursday. The Blazers have a matchup tonight against the Denver Nuggets. We'll preview that in a little bit. Also, we'll talk about all the Gary Payton II stuff because there's a lot of stuff surrounding him. First off, Eric, it's been a couple days since we've streamed. Nice to have a couple days off. How you doing?
Not too bad. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. Doing some work behind the scenes, meeting with a venue for an in-person watch party. Had a second meeting with that. That's going well. I'll probably have more information on that in the coming days, in the next couple of days, hopefully. So definitely stay tuned for that. Would be cool to get out, watch a Blazer game, meet all of you guys in person, or some of you guys. I know some of you guys are watching elsewhere across the world. Shout out to all of you. But yeah, we're going to talk some Blazer basketball. Nice to have a couple days off, mentally refresh, work on a couple things behind the scenes. I dropped a Believe in Blazers podcast earlier today, and then I'm in the middle of editing a mailbag, which I plan on getting out between now and the start of the game. And yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back to some Blazer basketball and hopefully some more Blazer wins as they take on the Nuggets tonight. First, Eric, we got picks against the spread, which is once again brought to you by Bet Online. All these spreads are brought to you by Bet Online. We got 3 games today that you can get in on the action for over on betonline.ag with the promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, and you'll receive 50% rewards if you use that promo code. So if you're feeling confident, check out Bet Online. Unfortunately, Eric, I'm not feeling confident. I'm feeling terrible.
We're all a disgrace to picks, and we are maybe close to banning all of us from picking if we can't stay. If none of us can even pick half the games right.
Yep, at this point, I'm just going to choose 8 random people from chat, and they're going to send in their picks because we all suck. You're in first, Eric, and you're under 500.
Yep. At least I'm over 50% for my picks if you take out the double downs, right?
Yep. So, you know, the percentage is making things look a little bit better because we've struggled on double downs this year. Once again, just like last year, Connor is the only person with a positive record on double downs, 8-6. I'm 5-9, Aeromancer's 5-9. I went 1-8 on Monday. I said, I'm feeling really confident today, which was obviously a dumb thing to say.
Man, when you bet on the Heat, I should have changed my pick. That was so dumb of me.
Yeah, I know, dude, honestly, at this point, anytime I ever say Miami as a pick for the rest of the year, if you can remember and tell me not to do it, I would be greatly appreciated because they have absolutely screwed me every time I've picked them this year. But yeah, nobody went above 500 on Monday. The NBA has been chaotic this year. It's been completely unpredictable. I should just go against my own intuition. I'd be 70-53 right now. So maybe that's the strategy to roll with, but everybody's close. That's the good thing. Everybody's close. Connor's 3 games back of first. Aeromancer and Trevin down there at the bottom, they're only 12 games back. So everybody's close. You love to see it. Should be fun as we get into 2023 to see if anybody can run away with this thing, and hopefully somebody can get above 500.
Connor says everyone's slowly closing in on me. No, just you are, Connor. I don't think anyone else did.
Yeah, you went 2-7. You went 2-7. I lost a game to you. That's so depressing.
And
anyway,
the best records, all you gained 2 games on me with the 2-7.
Oh, this is such a mess, man. This has been the biggest struggle collectively of any. This is our 4th year of picks against the spread, I think. 4th year, 3rd year, 4th year. Yeah, I think it's the 4th year. I don't even remember anymore. But this has been the biggest struggle. So hopefully we can right the ship with 3 games today. First game, Eric, we got Miami hosting the Los Angeles Clippers, and Miami's a 7-point home favorite.
The Clippers are without Kawhi Leonard, Norman Powell, and Terrence Mann in this one. The Heat are without Kyle Lowry, Gabe Vincent, Omer Yurtseven. Both Jimmy Butler and Dwayne Dedmon are still listed as questionable, but both are expected to play.
I want to go Miami. God damn. I can't go Miami. Shout out Oyakam House with the 50 Norwegian Crony donation. Says, loving life right now. I feel like the Blazers are back with the mentality we had to start at the start of the season, having Dame really helps the team, I think. Thank you, Jakob. Good to see you, man. Appreciate the donation. Yeah,
Thanks,
this
Jakob.
Blazer team, we'll talk about it in a second, because that's the third game we'll pick from, and we'll preview that. But yeah, the mentality is right now. Yeah, Eric, I'm struggling with this one, because I don't want to take the Clippers. They've been pretty bad for me this year as well. But Miami's been absolutely miserable. So, I said I can't pick the Heat, but maybe a coin could pick the Heat for me. That might be the strategy I have to do for this game, because I can't pick either of these teams. I cannot, in good conscience, pick either of these teams.
Well, Connor and myself are going Clippers. Jackson is Heat.
All right. Jackson's Heat. You and Connor are the Clippers.
Trevin said Clippers as well.
I gotta go Clippers. If the Clippers screw me, then maybe I'll give Miami a sixth chance this year. But it's tough out here.
Aeromancer is on the Clippers.
Aeromancer Clippers.
We're just waiting for Zach.
Where's Zachariah at? Jackson says he wants his island. Can I change my pick, Jackson? Just kidding. Okay, we're going to end the chat poll. We'll do a chat poll for...
Zach ruined his island.
Well, chat was going to ruin the island anyway, so you got 3 people on the Heat. No island for Jackson. Wait, that one. Cool. So Jackson, Zach, chat, Heat. Everybody else, Clippers. Let's move on to game number 2. We got the San Antonio Spurs hosting the Houston Rockets in a battle of tanking teams. Houston is a 2-point road favorite.
The Rockets are without Jayshawn Tate and Bruno Fernando. Kevin Porter Jr. and Josh Christopher are questionable. Don't know if they're going to play yet or not. Let me see real quick if there's an update. No update yet on those two. And then for the Spurs, they're without Jakob Poeltl, Devin Vassell, Jeremy Sohan, Blake Wesley, and Keita Bates-Diop.
I'm going with Houston. They've played decent lately.
I am also going with Houston, as is Connor. Trevin, Houston as well. Aeromancer is Spurs. And I'm assuming Jackson. Zach is Houston.
Okay.
I'm assuming we can pencil Jackson in for Spurs. No, Zach was Houston.
Zach was Houston?
Yeah.
Oh. Was there somebody other than Aeromancer that was Spurs?
No, only Aeromancer so far. But
Aeromancer wants his island.
Jackson hasn't answered, but he always picks the Spurs. So.
Well, while we wait for Jackson, shout out Gray Hughes Investigates with the $10 dono. Says, "What's up, freaks? Been swamped with the Idaho murders on my channel and haven't been able to check in. Keep on trucking." Thank you, Gray, for the $10 dono. Good to see you, man. It's been a minute. Was wondering what you were up to. Gray's a fellow YouTuber, bigger than us, so always appreciate the support.
Is that the college students who got stabbed in their house?
I think so, yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Does investigative stuff. So
yeah, check
out Gray's channel, by the way. We'll plug the channel, Gray, since you're so supportive, but appreciate you, man. Good to see you. We got Spurs for Jackson. So no island for you, Aeromancer. You get no island. All right, game number 3. Portland is hosting Denver. Denver's a 1-point road favorite.
The Nuggets are without Michael Porter Jr. in this one. Contavious Caldwell-Pope listed as probable. For the Blazers, we're still without Gary Payton II and Nasir Little, of course. But Josh Hart, Drew Eubanks, and Keon Johnson listed as probable for this one.
All right, there we go. Of course not, Gray. Did I make it? Hopefully I did make it seem like we're competitors. Of course not. Other people should check you out.
Trevin's going Nuggets. Connor and Aeromancer are on the Blazers.
Connor, Aeromancer, Blazers. Who is Nuggets?
Trevin.
I'm Nuggets as well. Easy money.
It doesn't work when you're trying to do it.
I'm not trying to do it. Easy money. Can't beat a good team twice in a row. Right? Them's the rules.
What? We haven't played them twice in a row.
Well, we played them earlier this year, so
that's not the same.
Twice in a row, It would be 2 wins against them in a row. So, it would be twice in a row. So, yeah, Jackson went Blazers, you said.
That's not horse. Aeromancer, Connor, Jackson, Eric.
Hard money. What'd Zach go with?
I think the Blazers will win hard money. Is that you picking the Blazers, Zach? I never know.
Yeah, no, he's going Blazers. I don't. Always go with whatever he's leaning towards with his messages, and then if he has a problem with it, it's his own fault. All right, we got Blazers here in the chat poll, and we'll do a chat poll for the double down. It's time for a double down. We will preview this game, by the way. I think this is going to be a really good, close battle between 2 good Western Conference playoff teams. Anyway, double down time. Ooh, let me make the chat poll, Eric. Gray, we'll talk about GP2 in a sec as well. Can you give me the chat options? It's
there's 3.
+1 versus Denver. It was
Rockets -2 against the Spurs and Heat -7 against the Clippers.
Were the Heat at home? The Heat
were at home. Heat are at home, yeah.
Cool. All right, so if it's, Miami versus LAC, that means Miami's at home. If it's Houston at San Antonio, that means Houston's on the road. That's how I formulate the chat poll. And then what do we got here, Eric? I'm going Rockets, by the way, is my double down, which is kind of insane, but, being logical hasn't helped me so far.
Connor and Trevin are also on the Rockets as their double down.
All right, let's get it.
Zach and myself are on the Blazers.
Uh-oh. You said Connor and Trevin were Rockets?
Connor and Trevin are Rockets with you.
Okay, and then you and Zach are Blazers. Can we get an all-red graphic? That is the question. What's going on? Portland for Jackson. And then chat is feeling themselves with those Portland Trail Blazers. It's not even particularly close. I love how chat's back on the hype train. I love it. And what did Aeromancer double down on? Clippers. All right, so we'll throw in
Clippers.
Yeah, whatever that is. And I have a red background for them. There we go. It's all red. Connor, Trevin, me going on the Rockets. Aeromancer by himself on the Clippers. And then Eric, Zach, Jackson, chat going with the Blazers. That concludes picks against the spread. Once again, all these spreads available on BetOnline. All right. You want to talk about GP2 or you want to preview this game first? I guess they kind of go hand in hand, but what do you want to start with?
Let's start with GP2.
All right. So, Do you have any information? Because you've been spot on talking about, how he's dealing with general soreness and that sort of thing. And then Sean Hyken reported it recently. You've been, talking about that for a couple weeks now. So I'll give you the floor.
Yeah, so Hyken came out and said that he's still experiencing soreness, just like I've been telling you guys when he plays. And that this whole time, they've just been trying to decide whether to let him just play through it. And I also told you guys that at some point they're just going to decide to do that. They're not going to do another surgery before going that first option. So, I mean, if it's really bothering him and he can't move very well after playing a few games, they might consider then doing something else with it. But I think for now, they're just going to have him try to play through it, see if it's a mental thing, and that after playing for a couple weeks, it starts to feel like, it's sore, but it's not causing me pain sore. It's just sore, which is completely different. And so he's obviously not going to play tonight, but I wouldn't be surprised if sometime as early as Saturday or sometime next week, if they decide to let him get a shot in there in a game.
He practiced in full yesterday.
Yeah, according to
first
Dave.
time. Mm-hmm.
According to other sources, it was just he practiced in full in parts of practice. So I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming that means most of practice. But so good to hear that he was a full participant in practice. That sounds like, from what Dame was saying, that was the first time this season. So that's a good sign. Have not heard how he felt afterwards or anything like that. And obviously he needs to get in better condition to get back to playing. So that's why if I had to guess, he's probably about a week out from playing. But that's just, again, a guess based on needing to get conditioning and that kind of stuff. But
Yeah. So I expect him to play on this homestand. The Blazers have 4 games left on this homestand every other day. Today, the 10th, the 12th, and the 14th. Over the next week, I expect him to play because, he's practicing in full. So, yeah, I guess it's a conditioning thing, but I feel like we'll see him in the next 4 games on a minutes restriction, 15 minutes or something like that. And that'll be fun because the dude provides a spark. I've loved listening to him being mic'd up on the bench. You just the dude's personality is phenomenal.
for sure.
It seems like a good guy and just a fun guy to be around. Very positive, lots of energy. That's what this team needs. That's what we talked about last year that we were missing. And he's a dog, man. I want to see him play, 10, 15 minutes a game, ramp him up. But in those 10 to 15 minutes, I feel like he can come in and provide a serious spark, be that guy that can lock down on the ball. I mean, we know what he's going to provide, but I think, especially if he returns at home, that's why I want him to return in the next 4 games, return on a homestand. He'll provide a spark and a little bit of energy that is hard to get simply because of who he is as a player, but then also being able to see him for the first time this season. In the way that he plays, he's going to be a fan favorite. Being able to see him debut at home would be really, really cool.
Yeah, and obviously this team could use a boost defensively, and that will be the main reason we brought him in here. So that'll also be nice just to have at least one person out there that's capable of keeping someone in front of them on the perimeter in most situations.
Yeah, absolutely. So, that's the thing is he has to play physical for his height. He has to play with a ton of energy in order to defend the way he does. So health is important for a player like that. He's not a guy that's just going to come in here and shoot spot up threes and kind of be lackadaisical defensively, and that's how he plays. In that case, it might have been easier for him to return with the soreness and, play through things. But given the way that he plays, you need that guy being healthy. But then again, last season, he played through this injury. It was giving him a lot of pain, and he played his ass off still. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can bring, man. I'm really excited, and it's always fun in a season where things kind of can get a little bit repetitive, especially, 24, 25 games in. It's nice to have something new, something exciting to look forward to, and something to figure out in terms of how he's utilized offensively, what the offensive lineups look like with him in the game next to other players, and then obviously what he brings on the defensive end. So being able to break down his potential impact is something I'm looking forward to on post-game shows.
Yeah, it's almost, I hate to use an Olshey term, but it's like having a midseason trade, right? Because we haven't had him at all this year. So it's like, I know we've had him on the team, but just having that guy who can be a disruptive force on the defensive end should be a huge boost to this lineup. Yep,
agreed. What are your keys for this game tonight as they take on Denver? Of course, they've already played them once this season at home. This is going to be their second matchup at home, and then they have 2 matchups on the road. Denver's been a team that's been struggling lately, lost a few games in a row, was sitting up there battling for first, but now if Portland beats them, Portland will be tied with them and own the tiebreaker 2-0 over the Nuggets. So this is actually a pretty big game, a game that could matter for seeding down the line. Of course, in that first matchup, Anthony Simons went off in the third quarter. It was a close game. Then he had 22, 6 threes in a row in that third quarter. The Blazers won 135-110. That was their 4th win of the season. Started off 4-0. So how much of... Is there anything we can take from that first matchup when looking at this one? Is it just something where we got to go in and defend them and hope that guys get going? They're a bad defense. They've struggled on that end of the floor, but obviously you got 2-time MVP Nikola Jokic. You got Michael Porter Jr., you got Jamal Murray, you got some talent there.
Porter Jr.'s out.
Porter Jr.'s out? Okay, yeah. Porter Jr.'s out, but still, you got some talent there. Bones Highland has been good off the bench for them. What are your keys, and what are you looking for in this game?
Well, aside from Anthony going crazy in that first game, the main reason we won was because Nikola Jokic had a very bad game compared to his standards. We got him in foul trouble, and that was huge. So obviously that probably won't happen again tonight. He's too good of a player to depend on taking him out of the game completely like that. But maybe you play through Nurk a little bit early, try to get him a couple fouls and get him out of the game. Maybe try to take a charge or something. Even if you don't get it, I think it's still worth the risk. So yeah, just try to get him as least involved in the game as possible. Now that's one of the hardest things in basketball to do because he's such an elite player. But their offense is really good. I think they're in the top 5 in terms of offensive ratings, depending on which metric you look at. So it's a case where our defense has to play well tonight, and on offense we have to get good shots because their defense isn't good. So if this is a case where we're taking bad shots and not getting good looks, and Denver's getting whatever looks they want on offense, I think it's going to be a long night for Portland. If you see them getting stops early and getting quality looks on offense, I think we have a good chance of running away with this game again.
Yep, and as I look at their last 3 games, they've lost on the road to Atlanta, on the road to the Pelicans, and then at home against the Dallas Mavericks. In all 3 of those games, they had at least 15 turnovers. They had 15 against the Hawks. They had 19 in that second game, whoever I said it was against. And then they had 17 in their most previous game against the Dallas Mavericks. So they've kind of struggled offensively lately because they've turned the ball over. Bones Highland is kind of their go-to guy off the bench. He can score, but can get kind of loose with the ball. Jokic, obviously one of the best passers in the league, so you got to try and rein that in. But if they can force turnovers, that's how you beat this Denver Nuggets team, because they've had a couple of games where they've lost, where they've shot the ball fine. It's just they can't take care of the ball, and then on the other side of the floor, they can't defend anyone. In their last 7 games, they've given up 116. No, that's not right. I'm looking at the left side. In their last 3 games, they've given up 116 points each game. 117 against the Hawks, 121 against New Orleans, 116 against Dallas. So you can score against this team. It just obviously comes down to trying to contain them. It's hard to guard them, but if you can force turnovers, you should be in pretty good business if you're Portland. But that's kind of been the problem, is Portland's been a little conservative defensively this year. They haven't played a scheme that is conducive to forcing turnovers. Zone defense isn't conducive to forcing turnovers. When you switch a lot, normally teams will isolate and attack those mismatches, and it doesn't result in turnovers. And then drop scheme as well. We've seen a little bit more of that lately. That isn't conducive for forcing turnovers. So that's a number to watch tonight, is how much are the Blazers turning over Denver, and if they can convert going the other way off that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Nurkic has not really been in foul trouble too much this year, but no, this is a tough matchup where he could easily get in foul trouble. But at the same time, I don't think you want to help too much on him, especially if it's late double teams, because Jokic just picks those apart. So I think you got to live with Jokic scoring on Nurkic in one-on-one situations. I think we can live with that. But if he's hitting cutters and people are falling asleep off ball or rotating improperly or trying to double late, and Jokic just finding their guys either for three-point shots or easy baskets around the rim for like Aaron Gordon and stuff, I mean, that's gonna be really tough to stop them. So I think you just want to let Jokic get his, as long as he's not involving too many of his teammates, and live with the consequences of other people if they're making tough shots, but just don't let them have easy baskets the whole game.
Yep. I am expecting Jeremy Grant to be matched up against Jamal Murray in this game, especially with no Michael Porter Jr. I mean, we'll see how that goes, I guess, but I assume it's going to be the same story that we've seen anytime Jeremy Grant has had to guard a guard this season. I'm not going to be a fan of that matchup, but I fully expect it. Aaron Gordon has been an opportunistic scorer. He's not a guy you really have to worry about offensively, in my opinion. He just kind of finds his way into high-quality shots, offensive rebounds, cuts, just kind of being around the rim for dump-off passes, that sort of thing. So that's not something you can necessarily game plan for, and maybe isn't anything you should game plan for, given that you got Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray to worry about, but he has been good this year.
I think, not necessarily game plan for him, but whoever's guarding him, it'll probably be Hart, like you said, because that's just how we've been matching up. So he can't leave him at all. So the help's got to come from somewhere else, because he's too good of a lob threat, too good of a finisher around the basket this year. He's been super efficient. So, just you gotta know where he is, and if you're guarding him, you can't fall asleep. That's basically just the main rules. Be in contact with him, have at least one eye on him at all times, because that's how he gets going. And then once he gets going with a couple easy ones, then he's much harder to stop, because he has that energy and stuff like that. So yeah, Hart's just got to stay with him and not let him not lose track of him at all.
Yep, I'm curious to see how Chauncey game plans against Jokic to potentially slow him down. You talked about just letting Nurkic single cover him and seeing how he does. If Nurkic gets into foul trouble, I think you got to send more of a double team. If you have Eubanks against Jokic, I trust Nurkic more than Eubanks defending against Nikola Jokic. So it'll be interesting to see if Chauncey throws different man-to-man looks against him. He's sprinkled in the zone a ton, but you got to be able to show a double team, maybe hard double one possession, fake a double the next possession. You can't just telegraph it and do things the same way the entire game. Nikola Jokic is so smart. He'll find the seams. He'll make the right passes. Denver's a really good team at exploiting the attention given to Jokic. Their guys know how to cut, play off the ball. Jokic obviously knows how to find them. So I think you got to try and mix up where the double team's coming from. If you're going to double him, maybe how hard you double and that sort of thing. You can't just give him the same look the majority of the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
So those are our keys. Anything else that you're looking for specifically with this one?
Well, Jamal Murray hasn't had the greatest season, so but with players like that, if they get a couple of shots to drop early, so I think we should try to just pressure him a little bit. That's unfortunate, like you said, if we have pick and roll situations where Grant's getting screened and giving Jamal Murray open looks. I think that could be the case where if he gets a couple of open looks off that early in this game, he could have one of his better games of the season, and just got to prevent that from happening against us.
Yep, absolutely. So, cool, man. I think this is going to be a good game. Yes, I took Denver in picks against the spread, but I think this is a toss-up. All right, like I didn't know who to take in that one, so I'll take Denver and hope that the Blazers win, and then if the Blazers lose, at least I have a shred of something. All right, that's my logic with that. So, Denver being a 1-point favorite, was a little surprised to see Denver as a favorite given how they've struggled lately, but they've just been up and down, much like us. They've had a couple 4-game winning streaks this year. They're off a 3-game losing streak right now. Hopefully we can make that 4. They've had a stretch where they've lost 4 and 6. Jamal Murray hasn't quite been as good as he was before his injury. And Michael Porter Jr. obviously not playing should be beneficial. I'm just worried Bones Highland's going to go off. That's kind of my worry. That's the type of guy that I feel like goes off against the Blazers. So hopefully I'm not seeing him go off.
He's had a few deep threes against us too. Yeah, we just can't give him space to get going like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Robbie asked you, do you believe Nurk is a true shooter now, or are you still waiting to see?
Depends on what you mean by true shooter. I just need to see him shoot more threes to really know what level of shooter he is, because that's the thing is volume matters shooting the ball, right? Anthony Simons is one of the best three-point shooters in the league this year because of the volume he shoots threes on and the difficulty of shooting that volume, right? Like, if he was getting 10 catch-and-shoot threes a game and shooting 39%, obviously that's not as impressive as a guy doing it off the dribble, step-backs, and that sort of thing. But normally, if you got a guy that can't shoot off the dribble, he's not getting 10 threes up a game. So the level that Anthony shoots at isn't just dependent upon his three-point percentage, being able to get up the volume that he does, and the way he gets that volume is extremely impressive. So that's the thing with Nurk, is he's shooting open ones right now, and I'm completely fine with that, but it's hard to kind of judge him given that he's only shot 35 threes this year. He's 15 for 35. That's great. I think that's good enough where you want him shooting open threes, and then you just kind of figure out where he trends from there. But his form is good. His balance is good. I don't see why he can't sustain a high level of shooting on the threes that he is shooting. He's not shooting tough ones. So if that's your definition of a true shooter, then yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about 42%, but even if he drops down to like 35%, I still think that makes it worth him shooting them occasionally.
That's basically Brook Lopez, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we've seen a couple times with shooters like running out on him, and that's opened up the paint a little bit. So, yeah, I mean, if they're going to leave him open and he can hit 35% of them from out there, I think that's fine. Yeah, obviously you don't want that to be the whole offense or whatever, but I don't know. I feel like in the past he's been fine shooting threes. It's not like he misses a ton of them really badly. They're all pretty much right on line when he shoots them. So I have no reason to believe that he can't at least be a mid 30% shooter, and you'll absolutely take that, I think, if you're the Blazers.
Yep, and I think a big thing for him was finding that level of confidence where if he misses a three, it's not like, oh, I shouldn't have shot that three. Because that's how it felt like in the past when he'd missed a three. It's like, oh, he shouldn't be shooting threes. And it was almost like he felt like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be shooting threes. Now when he misses a three, it's whatever. So that's a good thing. That's the confidence you need to have as a shooter in order to be a guy who's a true shooter.
I mean, honestly, you'd probably rather him shoot a three than a lay-in right now, right? I mean, I'm not even joking.
I mean, if you look at it, he's shooting, 52% from two, yeah. Right? So multiply 42%. 52 by 2, that's 104, right? He's shooting 42% from 3, multiply 42 by 3, that's 126. On
points per shot, it definitely pans out, so...
I guess that's 1.04 points per shot on twos and 1.26 points per shot on threes. So you'd be right. He's been more efficient on threes this year than two.
Like everyone said that about Myers, like get your butt in the paint. But it's like, well, he's a better shooter than he is paint scorer.
Yeah.
But I
But
think,
here's where it gets tricky with that is, some of the twos going inside the paint, he gets to the line, whereas he's not getting to the line shooting threes, and then getting to the line is more efficient than shooting threes. So that's why I like true shooting percentage, because it takes all that into account.
Yeah, well, and yeah, that's something that's really overlooked when people can bring up all the stats about finishing and post frequency and his percentile of points per post up, all that kind of stuff. But a lot of that doesn't factor in just getting the other team in the bonus. The Blazers have done a really good job, better than any recent Blazer team I can remember, of getting to the foul line a lot this year. So I like that they are attacking and getting to the line. Heck, that Knicks game, they pretty much only won because they shot nothing but free throws in that game. So like it's cool to see them attack and get to the line, get into the bonus, and Nurk's play inside and drawing those fouls is a huge reason. And like I mentioned earlier, in that first game, he got Jokic in foul trouble, and that really helped us out. So if he can do that again, there is some good from him posting up still, not just becoming a 3-point shooter.
Absolutely. Ol Jakob says, game top score prediction. For the game, I have to go with Jokic. He'll have to carry things a little bit more than any one of the Blazers' big three will have to. For the Blazers, I think Dame has a good game today. I don't know, you got Bruce Brown who can guard him, but you're going to have to make Jokic go out and guard in space on pick and rolls, and with the shooting around them with Ant and with Grant, and Nurkic has been hitting threes like we just talked about, and Hart can cut and knock down the occasional three. I think Dame will be able to get going downhill a little bit in this game, and I think he'll lead the Blazers. I think he'll have 25 to 35 points.
Nice. I actually think Grant's due for a big game tonight. So not due, but like
I was gonna say due. All he's been doing is having big games.
I think he'll continue that. I think they'll be really focused on Dame, of course, and then after last game they'll be really focused on Anthony, and so they're good defenders in KCP, and Bruce Brown will be, and Aaron Gordon will probably all be more focused on the guards than Grant, and I think that'll allow him to get open a lot.
Yep, absolutely. If those two guys, if Dame and Ant can get going downhill, that'll lead to a big Jeremy Grant game, I think, because it'll collapse the defense. Mm-hmm. And Aaron Gordon is probably going to be matched. I don't know how Aaron Gordon's going to match up, or they're going to match up, but I think Aaron Gordon probably guards Jeremy Grant. He's a guy that likes to help. So if you can get him stepping into the paint on drives, as long as you can, beat whoever's on the perimeter, especially if it's a pick and roll and you can get past Jokic because he has to play up on screens against those two guys, collapse the defense, kick out, Jeremy Grant threes, or Jeremy Grant being able to catch and attack closeouts should lead to a good game for him as well. So anyway, we'll take maybe a couple other questions before we sign off here. I know you got to go in like 5 minutes. So let me do it rapid fire quickly.
Well, if you guys remember asking chat about last game, since it was a blowout, that was probably the least the starters had to play all season. They all still played 34, 35 minutes. Grant's had 21 points against them last time.
Yeah.
But was 1 for 6 from 3. Got to the line 7 times. Anthony had 29. Dame had 31. So pretty balanced scoring.
Yep. Gray Hughes says, he was asking you this, not me apparently. I'm just kidding. He says, Nurk used to be automatic inside. What do you think has changed? He used to make left and right hand all day.
I mean, honestly, that's not true. His numbers are actually... like people always say, oh, we need Nurk fever Nurk back, right?
Yeah.
Or we need pre-injury Nurk finisher back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the last couple seasons, he's been a better finisher than both Nurk fever period and the 2018-2019 season when he broke his leg. So it's not a case of he was so much different or better at this stuff, but like prior to the injury or when we first got him. Yeah, that was it's a case where, I mean, he's gotten better the last couple of years. Now this year he dipped a little bit. It's tough to overcome. I mean, Anthony's numbers are still are looking good now, but he got off to a rough start too, as everyone remembers. So his shooting numbers this year, like I saw someone reply to your video saying like Anthony ranks this in shooting this season and all that kind of stuff. Like that means he's for sure that player, you know. So like we're still early enough in the season where any kind of cold stretch can affect those numbers. But I don't know. To me, it seems like he's rushing shots a lot more than he needs to. And I think if he just went up strong and tried to, you know, go right at the backboard or go like for dunk or, you know, at least lay it in at the rim instead of trying to get angles and stuff like that. Like when he turns around and isn't fading at all and just goes up completely strong and straight up and has good posture is almost automatic. So I think it's more when he tries to go around a defender, or he's trying not to take a charge, or he's, you know, trying to do too much, or, you know,
well, I also think it's like they're not getting him good enough low post position. Yeah. So he's having to back the guy down from further out, which means a double team comes, which means he rushes it before the double team gets there, or he's shooting his hook shots from further out. I think that's a big thing as well. And then like he's been posting up, like flashing to the middle of the key a lot, but it's a little harder to score and it's a little easier to double team there than if he's on, you know, one side or the other on a block. So I think that matters as well.
We had that Bryant's breakdown last game of the first play of the game, getting really good position. I'd like to see them do that a little bit more. Just try to get him deeper position with the guards actually looking for it. But yeah, as you said, flashing and sealing under the hoop can lead to a lot easier baskets too. And as mentioned when we were talking about Nurkic's 3-point shooting earlier, if he's outside at the 3-point line, it does take him away from offensive rebounds, which if you're not getting easy putbacks, that of course affects your shooting percentage as well, because a lot of players that have centers, at least, that have really high shooting percentages get like a lot of easy dunks and lob passes and putbacks. So Nurk doesn't get any lobs. He doesn't get that many like offensive rebound easy putbacks, which he usually makes. So like a lot of those, when you're comparing him to other centers, like he doesn't get the type of shot quality that a lot of those other rim running lob threats get on those. Yeah.
And somebody asked what's his career high in 2-point percentage. It was last year. He shot 56 point. I got the stat right here. He shot 56.3% from 2. His next career high from 2-point percentage, believe it or not, is this year, 52.6%. Now, he doesn't shoot as many mid-range shots in the past, which I think leads to that. He was never a great mid-range shooter, and it was always a situation where I didn't really want him shooting mid-range. I wanted him stretching it out to 3. Well, now he's done that. He's either right around the rim or shooting 3s, which I think is a good thing. Despite how badly he's finished, that's led to him almost having the most efficient year of his career so far. True shooting percentage for him right now is 58%. Last year was his career high at 58.6%.
Yeah, I just don't want him to shoot those. Each of the last 2 games, he shot a Dirk Nowitzki into the shot clock, turned around 15 to 18.
I mean, when there's 2 on the clock, you know.
But I'd like to see him, just take a step in and do like a 10-foot hook shot or something, not a 15-foot fadeaway.
Yeah, I don't really think he has that Eubanks hook in his game, though. You know, the running. You know, that would be a nice move for him to learn. But yeah, so. Finishing wise, he struggled, but his 2-point percentage was during the Nurk fever days was never higher than it is now, and he didn't finish super well during the Nurk fever days. When he came here, Eric, I'm just looking off Basketball Reference. I know this might not be 100% accurate, but during the 20 games after he got traded to Portland, he shot 58% from 0 to 3 feet. This year, he's shooting 63%. That, of course, according to Basketball Reference. So,
well, I mean, it just hadn't got to the annoying part yet.
Yeah, exactly. But that's my whole point is like we've had him for so long that fans now, you know, there was a honeymoon phase, maybe even for a couple of years there. And then since that's died down, people are a lot more critical.
Well, I mean, I got into a discussion with people who thought that Kyle Kuzma would be better than Josh Hart and Keon Johnson in a first round pick yesterday. So um, I think it's a case where when you're watching one team all the time and you're just hearing about another player, the grass always seems greener. And then, like Josh Hart comes in last year and has a really good stretch of games, but it's only 13 games or something, and his stats look amazing. He looks like he's our answer there. And then he comes in and he's having to be like the fifth option on an offense, and he's kind of hesitant and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, he's the worst player ever. No, he's still been really good. It's just he's just been hesitant to shoot, and that's the only thing. And then people think like, oh, we have to get rid of him. Then it's like a never-ending circle.
Well, yeah,
grass is always greener.
Yeah, exactly. And it's people that don't consider fit or role. It's easy to look at Kyle Kuzma and be like, 20.6 points per game and 3.5 assists out of a power forward. That's what we've always wanted offensively, right? Well, we already have that offensively. We got Jeremy Grant. We're not in that desperation mode for a forward that can do that sort of thing offensively. We have enough top-level scoring. The last thing we need is a dude who's a fourth option, who thinks he's a first option, who shoots 31% from three and is bad defensively on this team. Like, Kyle Kuzma does not make this team better if you take out Josh Hart and add Kyle Kuzma. Now, if Kyle Kuzma was somebody you brought off the bench in a bench role and just somehow got him for free, which obviously is impossible, but just hypothetically, yeah, he could help the team in that role. But you don't give up value for Kyle Kuzma. That's not what this team needs. It needs three-point shooting around its big three, and it needs perimeter defense. Kyle Kuzma provides neither of those. So that's the thing when you look at a guy like that, is not only is the numbers he's putting up going to lead to a team having to trade more value for him, but he also doesn't make sense for us. But that's the thing. People just go and look at his stats and see what he's averaging and be like, yeah, that would be better than Josh Hart. Look, his stats are so much better. But role players matter. Role players matter. And Steph Curry talked about it on an interview recently, or maybe it was a couple years. I don't know. I retweeted it, I think. I don't know when it was, actually. But he was talking about how they've been successful because they've had role players that buy into their roles. And that's so important. That goes undervalued. Mm-hmm. So, it's nice having guys that'll do that, Eric. A guy who averaged 20 points per game in a Blazer uniform last year, but then this year, is taking a back seat. I want him to be more aggressive, but he's playing a specific role, is a good defender, can pass, rebounds really well. You need those guys.
And I'll say this again. If someone's making around $13 million like Kuzma is, pretty much trading Hart is the only option. And so if it's not a significant upgrade over Hart and you have to give up other assets, I just think there's no way the Blazers would even consider that.
Yep. Jakob need to get his minutes down a little bit. Some of that's because Dame's been out. So I think GP2 coming back soon and Dame being back will help keep his minutes down.
Hopefully. Yeah,
it's 37. So, I want to see that 35, not 37. It's only a couple minutes, though, but, those couple of minutes I feel like adds up. I feel like 36 minutes per game in the regular season is the limit for guys, or should be the limit for guys.
Yeah.
So, anyway, anything else, Eric?
Nope. Gotta go. Thank you all for watching. Have a good night. We'll see you after the game, hopefully.
Yep, we'll be live again tonight. If you want to watch anything else before the game, check out the Believe podcast video uploaded on this very channel. And Mailbag, I'm going to try and finish editing that by about 6 p.m., getting that out right before the game. So hopefully you check that out and enjoy that. Thank you for watching Blazers Uprise Live, presented by BetOnline AG. Good luck to everyone in picks against the spread. And we're out of here. We'll catch you later tonight. Until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.